how to grow your shoulders. Now, when I was 13 years old, the muscle that I wanted to get just so big was probably my shoulders. Like when I was just starting out, the muscle that I wanted to get so big were my shoulders. Because first of all, it's probably shoulders and back are probably the most attractive muscles to girls because they create that V taper. And I wanted to be more attractive. And also shoulders, they just make you look like a superhero. They look amazing when you have those big broad shoulders, like those movie celebrities and all that. They just look amazing. They look amazing. You know, actually a guy having big shoulders is kind of like a girl having like big cheeks, if you know what I mean. Yeah. It's instantly attractive. So it's the muscle group that I always wanted to get big. And also shoulders are the biggest muscle in your upper body. The delts are the biggest muscle in your upper body. So I really wanted to get them big because I always had small shoulders, narrow frame. I was too skinny, very skinny. So I wanted to get them big, like very big. Now I can honestly say that my shoulders, I can confidently say now that my shoulders and my back are probably the best body part. How did I do this? There's 3 things I did. But to get big shoulders, you need 3 things. The first thing is exercises. As we always say in every video about how to grow muscle group, exercises, intensity, and progressive overload. Exercises, intensity, and progressive overload. Now, if you don't know, your shoulders or your delts, they have 3 heads. The front head, which is on the front, the middle head, which is actually the biggest head and the most important, and the rear head, or the rear delt, which is on the back. It kind of gives your delts like a rounder look. Now, honestly, I tried every single delt exercise you could ever dream of. Every single exercise I tried. Arnold press, lateral raises, rear delt, flies, every single exercise I tried. These are the 3 best exercises I have ever did. Now, the first exercise, and by far the exercise that grew my shoulders the most, the best exercise for shoulders, is without a doubt an overhead press, standing overhead press. The best exercise for shoulders. When you do a overhead press and you progressively overload on it, your shoulders explode. You get those big, huge shoulders. It's not from lateral raises, it's from overhead presses. Of course, lateral raises also get you very big delts, but overhead presses, especially my favorite, which is standing overhead presses, get you huge delts if you do the next 2 things, which are intensity and progressive overload, and I'll talk about them. The first exercise, standing OHP, best exercise for delts in my opinion. Second best exercise is lateral raises, but lateral raises lying on a bench, where you're on a bench, you lean forward on an incline bench and you do lateral raises. This is the best lateral raise variation you can do with dumbbells. By far the best. Like, I have never seen a better exercise with dumbbells than this one, because it removes all the swinging, all the momentum, and it just perfects and completely isolates that middle delt, which is the biggest and the most important head to get that big, like wide, superhero shoulder look. It comes from the leaning lateral raises on an incline bench. Now, rear delts, honestly, currently, I don't train rear delts. I just find they respond well to like back movements. You already train them heavily in back movements. But the best exercise I've seen the most growth with is rear delt skiers or rear delt swings. Like, everyone will tell you that rear delt flies, which are basically like, you probably know what I mean, like you lean forward and you do like this. Rear delt flies are you swing back These I think are better because they go in line with the rear delt fibers. So I think they're better. So either a rear delt fly or a rear delt swing, if you know what I mean. Like I'm telling you, bro, if you do a standing overhead press, a lateral raise leaning on a bench, and rear delt swings, your delts will explode if you do the next two things, which are intensity and progressive overload. Now, the second thing, which is intensity. Intensity is key, I promise you, man. Once I lowered my volume, alright, and I increased the intensity, training to failure and even past failure, I have seen the most growth this way. And probably like every single fitness influencer you'll see, they all say the same thing. When they reduce their sets and increase their intensity, they always see a massive growth. They always see that they build way more muscle than when they were doing high volume, because intensity is the primary driver. If you don't know what intensity means, intensity is basically training to failure, training to the point of an exercise where you can't perform another rep no matter what. Like you're just stuck. You've reached muscle failure. The muscle has reached failure and can't perform another rep in good form. And this is especially important for shoulders, because when you do, for example, lateral raises, when you do them, you think you go to failure, but it's just a burn. Like lateral raises are so hard, they're very, very hard and uncomfortable, but you have to reach failure on them and even go past failure. Like I honestly, for lateral raises, I do a rest pause set where I reach failure, then rest 10 seconds, then reach failure again, then rest 10 seconds, then reach failure again, in one set. I always say this, man, 100 sets not taken to failure will not build muscle. One set taken to failure will maximize muscle growth. Okay, intensity is key, especially when you're training your shoulders. Okay, so here's the second thing. The third thing, probably the most important thing, is progressive overload. Now, I'm gonna be honest, my shoulders, I have been able to grow them because of this, because I just did a staple set of exercises, which are overhead press, lateral raises, and rear delt flies. And I just did them intensely, and I just increased the weight every workout. It's that simple. Every time you go to the gym and you train your shoulders, just increase either the reps or the weight. Now, my overhead press went from, honestly, it went from like 20 kg to now 40 kg, so that's what made my delts like very, very good. My lateral raise went from 5 kg or even 2 kg to right now I do like 15 kg, which is very, very good. So it's just that you just pick a set of exercises for your shoulders, you train them to failure, which is you can't perform another rep on the exercise, and every time you go to the gym you just increase the weight or the reps. It's that simple, bro. It's that simple when it comes to shoulders. And I'm gonna be honest, my shoulders have been I didn't really struggle with my shoulders as, for example, my arms. Like my arms I really, really struggle with even to this day a little bit. But my shoulders have always been good because I've always done the same exercises. That is why my shoulders have always grown. Same with my back. I've always done the same exercises, pull-ups and barbell rows. So take this as a lesson. Just if you really want to grow a lagging muscle, do the same exact exercises. Don't switch it up. Because when I know it happens, when you see an exercise and you do it for a few weeks and you don't think it's working, it's working. It's just that it takes time. The biggest problem you can do is you think that exercise is not working, so you switch the exercise. That is what I did all the time, and that is why I wasn't able to build muscle, bro. Building muscle on any lagging muscle you have is just as simple as do 1 or 2 exercises for that muscle, train them intensely to failure, and progressively overload on that set or on those sets. It is that simple, bro. That is why my shoulders have been probably my best body part, because I did the same exact exercises, I did them to failure, and I progressively overloaded on those exercises. Yeah. Love you, bro, and I'm rooting for you. Peace, stick.